Everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer. The DRF race of the day for Saturday, September the 17th is the main event on a really nice card at Woodbine. It is the Grade 1 Woodbine Mile. $1 million is the purse, one of the more prestigious middle distance turf races in North America. Before we get to the full preview, please stay tuned for this brief message.
Want to view free Formulator past performances for this race? Head to the Race of the Day page at DRF.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel and bet this card with DRF Bets.
Here's the field for the Grade 1 Woodbine Mile. Scan the QR code for Race of the Day access on your mobile device. Classic winners, Grade 1 winners galore. The number 5 Modern Games, a 3-year-old taking on older horses, ships in for a barn that had nothing but success in 2021 and has kept the ball rolling in 2022. It's Appleby and Godolphin with Modern Games.
Yeah, 3-year-old taking on older Dan, but a horse who, even though this is another Grade 1 with $1 million purse, this is class relief for this horse based on what he's been facing over in Europe.
There is speed in this race. As we throw up the time form US pace projector, Get Smokin' is very fast out of the gate. Town Cruise won last year's Woodbine Mile in front-running fashion. Mighty Heart won the 2020 Queen's Plate up and on the lead. There should be a legitimate pace going on.
Yeah, it feels like they're going to have to go a pretty decent clip here just to, get up to the front in this race. Get Smokin' wants to be forward. He's pretty fast. Town Cruise did wire this race last year and earned a 104 buyer in doing it, but he just went unchallenged on the lead in this race last year. He'll have to work a lot harder if he wants to repeat.
Let's start with the Game Genuine Millionaire, the number 1 Mighty Heart. He's a one-eyed son of Dramedy who won 2/3 of the Triple Crown in 2020 in Canada. One race on the synthetic, one race on the dirt, and that's really the key, isn't it, with Mighty Heart? Is he as good on turf as he is on the other surfaces?
It seems like he isn't. He's had so few starts, though, on this surface that I don't know that you want to peg him as a horse who can't handle the grass. Dan, the big problem for him in here is just feels like the pace of this race. He's a horse who wants to be forward. That running style works for him in most of the races he runs in because it's mostly going longer and he doesn't really have to go that fast to cut the pace in those races. He's going to have to go a lot faster in here.
I think we also have to worry about his current form now at the age of 5. He's run 4 times this year. He's yet to crack a 90 on the Beyer scale in 2022. Is he as good as he was in prior seasons? He's got a ton of back class. The number 2 Ivar won the Grade 1 Shadwell Turf Mile in 2020. And although he had an abbreviated campaign last year, he still ran a good third with a wide trip in the Breeders' Cup Mile. He returned off a lengthy layoff at a distance a little bit further than he likes last time out at Horseshoe Indianapolis, but he's simply better than these horses in the Schuster. He runs them down in the stretch, and he looked good doing so.
This is an easy win for him. He got a perfect trip in this race, not only, sort of raiding early with nobody near him at any point, but they were also racing in front of him here. They set this race up with a fast and contested pace. And Ivar did what he was supposed to do as the favorite. And their good performance, another rock solid effort from this horse. And that pace projector that we just looked at a few moments ago, it works to this horse's advantage.
Bill Mott's going to take a shot with a filly, the number 3, Waka Naka, who really likes Woodbine, and a mile seems to be her distance. Let's watch her last race against fellow fillies and mares in the Dance Smartly, going 1 mile and a 16th. And I thought she ran pretty well in this race. There wasn't a lot of pace. She stayed a lot closer to the pace than she had in her prior starts when the pace was much faster. She wins very easily. And again, a red bar time form US pace projector works to her advantage.
Yeah, I thought she ran really well in here. She did get another horse who just got a really nice trip, but she was just always ridden with a lot of confidence when her rider asked her to go up there and challenge for it at the top of the stretch. She really had no problem taking things over there. Won pretty convincingly at the end. Her form, since she's gotten over here for Bill Mott, I think it's actually pretty good, Dan, and I like her going the mile.
European raiders have done very well on Woodbine mile days in years past, and the 4 Finest Sound is a hardy veteran who was Group 1 placed in Dubai in his seasonal debut. He's been a horse that sort of kind of nibbles in his races. He just missed last time out in a Group 2 in Goodwood, but he faced a very sharp horse that would come back to win another Group 2 in Ireland.
Yeah, I mean, I can't knock his recent form. He's obviously shipping over here at the right time, Dan. His recent run of races, they're all good performances. They're not against, horses like Modern Games. So we'll see how he stacks up against a horse like that. He obviously has his work cut out for him here, but, I'm not going to knock this horse at some kind of a price.
The 3-year-old Modern Games must take on older horses, but he has already won in North America. He scored in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf last year, and in his 2022 debut, he grabbed the French 2000 Guineas. He had no chance last time out in the Sussex. He was running against Baid, one of the best horses in the world.
Yeah, he actually ran well in that race too. He's just no match for that, super talented horse there. I like that performance from him, and I like, Dan, that he did it back over the mile, which feels like this horse's best distance. He also did it over just ground that was a little bit firmer. The races 2 and 3 back over softer ground. He doesn't seem as proficient over courses like that. He likes it firmer. He got it firmer, and he ran really well last time. To me, this horse is way the horse to beat, even though he's only a 3-year-old.
The horse that beat him, of course, would come back to win the Group 1 Juddmonte International. And Modern Games just doesn't seem like that typical European that breaks slow and needs to make one run. He stayed relatively close in the Breeders' Cup. Last time out, he had a pretty good trip saving ground in mid-pack. He had a big look at it, but the horse that won that race might be something special. Modern Games is simply the horse to beat. Sherrill Spite won the Grade 1 Maker's Mark Mile at Keeneland earlier this year, and he's run okay in his subsequent starts. The Turf Classic at Churchill Downs, 1.125 miles may be a little bit far, and maybe that turf course didn't work out for him as well. There also wasn't a ton of pace for him to run at. I don't know why they keep running him on dirt, although he ran okay in the Salvatore Mile 2 back. And last time out, wide trip, sprinting, maybe he's a little dirtied up.
Yeah, that's a fair way to look at him. And it's how I wanted to look at him, Dan. Oh, boy, I just didn't think that he ran well in the Canal Cup last time. I know he was on the outside, and it was 7. He just didn't really fire a good shot there. I'm with you. I don't know why they ran him on dirt 2 back, and I wonder if it screwed this horse up a little bit, because the first 3 starts of this campaign this year, I thought he ran great in all of those. And if he can somehow refine that form, he's a contender in here.
The great Neil Drysdale is showing a lot of confidence, shipping the number 7 Homer Screen all the way here from Southern California. This horse is a multiple group winner at a mile in his native Brazil. His most recent start, the Grade 2 Eddie Reed, he did face 2 next out winners. The runner-up came back to score the Grade 2 Delmar Mile with a 102 buyer. He's a little bit slow on paper. He needs to step forward, but he might get the right setup.
He might. I don't see it. I get that this race might set up for him, and maybe he'll pull the right trip and get a piece of this at a price. I don't see it on his form since he's arrived here in North America, Dan. All of those races, he's run fine in them, but I didn't see big excuses for him. And if he just shows up and runs one of those races in here, I don't think he gets anything.
Marquesi, Rafael Hernandez send out the 8, Get Smoking, who I believe is the major speed in this race, although he's likely going to have to face other pace. They ran him last time out in the 4-star Dave. He went right to the lead. I liked what Javier tried to do. He tried to put them away through a third quarter in about 23 seconds flat, couldn't create the separation, and that was it. This is a tough edition of the Woodbine Mile. Maybe a 1-turn mile will be good for him.
I like the 1-turn mile for this horse for sure. He has good form at Belmont Park, which those races are run under a similar configuration. This horse to me is really dangerous in here. I get that he might have to go fast on the lead in here, but that's his running style anyway. He's not one of those horses who, goes off to the front and rates it generally. He'll go as fast as he needs to go up there, and he still fights through the stretch. I think he's pretty dangerous.
The 9 War Bomber is coming off a gate-to-wire effort over Synthetic. We're going to watch that race right now. It's the Grade 3 Seagram Cup going 1 mile and a 16th, and he was able to make the lead in here and is very, very game to beat a couple of next out winners. He has won a stakes race at a mile over the E.P. Taylor turf course in the past, and he's versatile enough that he doesn't need the lead.
That's true. I don't think they're going to go forward with him this time. That it was the right way to ride him in this race that we're watching right now. In an odd way, even though I like the fact that he was able to rebound there and win another graded race there in his most recent start. He did it at a price. I kind of wish that he hadn't run well in that race and would just get totally overlooked in here, because I've been waiting for this horse to get back to turf. I don't really like his synthetic form that much, but he did get the job done last time.
Town Cruise won this race last year in very game fashion. He went to the lead over a very wet turf course, and that might have been the key. He seems to like yielding going. He's now going to make his third start of the form cycle. It's fair to question whether he is as good this year at 7 as he was last year. He chased a very hot horse through legitimate fractions last time out and paid the price. What do you make of the blinkers off?
Yeah, I don't mind them taking the blinkers off, although I usually hate equipment changes in races like this. We'll see. I get that his 2 starts this year aren't great, but it is only 2 starts. And the first of those going a mile and a quarter where he just got some kind of crazy ride in there, super wide up the back. I don't know what they were doing in that race. So I don't really care about that one. A little bit better last time. Obviously, he's just got to find a way here, Dan, to rebound and run his very best race against this field. And he's got to do it with a quality speed right to his inside. It feels like there's a lot working against him this year.
Last but certainly not least in this quality field is the popular Millionaire, the number 11, March to the Arch, who finished second in the 2020 edition of the Woodbine Mile. And we talk about him all the time. He probably would have won some more races if he had better racing luck, if he had better pace setups. Well, the pace is likely going to be there for him. It's whether Patrick Husbands can get him a clear trip. Interested in your thoughts on the King Eddie last time out? He came with a kick. I was hoping to see a little bit more late.
Me too. I thought he'd run a little bit better in that race. He did run pretty well 2 starts back in the Connaught Cup, though. He did not get a great trip. He can still run. He's 7 years old. Has he lost a little bit off his fastball? He probably has, but he can still run. Can still be competitive with these horses, and any pace that develops only helps his chances. I'm going to try to find a way to use him at a price, Dan. I always do.
Please click on the subscribe button for all of the latest DRFTV video franchises right here on the DRF YouTube channel. Top pick time for the Woodbine Mile. Modern Games has proven his mettle in North America. He seems like a talented mile. He still might have a little bit of upside as a 3-year-old facing older horses, and he just faced one of the best horses in the world. Really, the only box he doesn't tick is price.
Yeah, he's going to be the favorite in here, but to me, he's just one of those horses who he's supposed to be the favorite in here, and I think a pretty clear-cut one. He's a really good horse, and I just feel like they've, Charlie Appleby and Godolphin, once again, they've shipped him over. They found the right spot for him, and he's just supposed to be really, really tough in here.
Big fan of Ivar. Want to see him make his mark perhaps at the end of this year, catching a good European in Modern Games. We both go 5-2 in the Woodbine Mile. Mike 5-2-3-8. I'll go 5-2-4-8. It's one of 3 grade 1s, 4 graded stakes races on the Woodbine Saturday card. Oh, and by the way, it kicks off a pick 4 with a guaranteed pool of $250,000. Good luck.